What's the weirdest thing you've seen in someone else's house that they thought was totally normal? Story 1. I was staying over at a friend's place and needed to use the bathroom. Couldn't. His dad was passed out naked on the toilet. Story 2. A mushroom growing in the corner of the shower. They were treating it like an experiment to see how big it would get. Story 3. In 6th grade, I was sleeping over at a friend's house. He went to the bathroom, and I heard him call his mom a minute later. He was taking a dump with the door wide open so she could come wipe him. He told me this like it was completely normal. Story 4. Not super weird, but my childhood best friend and his siblings had been brainwashed into thinking vacuuming was an amazing privilege. They were literally fighting over who got to vacuum while I played racing games on their console. Story 5. They only drank soda, and always from aluminum cans. Instead of recycling, they just hoarded them. Their entire damn house was surrounded by aluminum cans. There were trash bags full of them everywhere, and none of them thought it was strange at all. Story 6. I walked into my friend's kitchen. He said I could grab anything from the pantry. I saw boxes and boxes of expired food. Not just a month or a year past due. I'm talking expiration dates from 1995. Tons of different snacks with similar dates. He thought this was totally normal and that the food still tasted fine. I was terrified to open anything. This was around September 2014, many years ago now. Story 7. I had a friend in 1st grade who was never allowed to come to my house. I still don't know why, but I visited hers once. It was a tiny 2-bedroom apartment, and her bedroom had a crib like for a baby half her size. She told me that's where she slept. I found it really strange and disturbing, even in my 6-year-old mind. I moved at the end of the school year, so I never saw her again. I'm guessing she wasn't allowed to my house, so I'd never see how much more comfortable other people lived. Story 8. I have a friend whose family had something really weird going on, but they knew it was weird and just acted normal about it. Their backyard was always locked, but you could see it from the 2nd floor. They had a pulley system to lower things down. The first few times I went over, everything seemed fine, just my friend, his sister, and his mom. But one day, while my friend was busy, I wandered around and saw the mom lowering stuff into the yard. I thought it was odd. Why not just open the door? That's when I saw a man about 40 come out of a small room in the backyard and grab the food. I was stunned. I couldn't believe someone had been living there the whole time. I asked my friend, super confused, what was going on. He casually said, "Oh, that's my uncle." I asked why he was locked in the yard, and he explained the uncle had dementia, so they kept him there and passed food down from above. It was a small room with a bed and bathroom. He said there was nothing to worry about. Even after the explanation, I was still deeply disturbed. I couldn't understand how the family could live so happily and normally with a man locked in a room for years. Story 9. I replaced a window in a big old house in an expensive part of the city. It had been lived in by an elderly woman until she passed away recently. Everything was still there. The place was a perfect 1960s time capsule. Every room had a different vibe, and there were mannequins dressed in 60s clothes posed in scenes throughout the house. It was really eerie. It seemed like the lady had been alone. Story 10. I went to a sleepover at this girl's house, and her mom was obsessively taking photos of us all night. At one point, We were watching a movie and my friend passed out. Her mom, no joke, pulled out a huge new-style camera and started filming her daughter sleeping for 5 minutes. I have trouble sleeping, so that night, when we were all in the bedroom, I was on the floor staring at the wall in the dark, lying on my side with my back to the door. I heard the door creak, footsteps, then a sudden flash lit up the room. I sat up just in time to see the door close. It was her mom taking pictures of us. The creepiest part, it was around 3 a.m., meaning the mom either set an alarm or stayed up waiting. Story 11. The family kept foam polystyrene bricks next to the living room couch, specifically to throw at the TV if they didn't like the show or if a character said something stupid. Absolute geniuses. Story 12. I went to dinner at a friend's house, and his mom set 4 places at the table, 1 for me, 1 for my friend, 1 for herself, and 1 for a doll, with a cutout photo of her deceased grandmother's face glued onto it. Super creepy. Story 13. I was walking around the city with a friend when we ran into one of his buddies I hadn't seen in years. Small talk ensues, and the guy says, "Why don't you come over for coffee?" Since he lived nearby, we figured why not. We get to his place. It was disgusting. Not just dirty, but cluttered. Sink overflowing with dishes. Kid toys everywhere. Total chaos. He had a dog, and it smelled weird. He offers us coffee, then realizes, surprise, no clean mugs. So what does he do? Grabs 2 mugs from the coffee table, buried under trash, holds them up to his dog's nose, lets the dog lick out the leftovers, then starts making coffee. No rinse. Needless to say, we sat there pretending to sip. We left soon after. He acted like it was the most natural thing in the world. Story 14. I used to babysit for a family, and the kids always begged for a cool cup. I had no idea what they meant. They were too little to explain. One day I mentioned it to the mom. She laughed, cut the tops off some bell peppers, scooped out the seeds, filled them with tap water, and handed them to the kids. They went wild like it was candy. I thought it was so weird that drinking water from bell peppers was something to get excited about regularly. Story 15. I had a friend whose family lived on a huge property and raised cows for a property tax break. Nothing weird there. He invited me over to meet his parents, and I swear to God, there was a massive cow chilling on one of their living room couches. That sight was wilder than any hallucination I've ever had. Really nice people, though. Just a little quirky. Story 16. Cockroaches crawling around in broad daylight outside. I didn't sit down or eat anything the 3 times I went over. The whole family seemed to think it was normal to have roaches everywhere. Story 17. One of the first times I met my husband's family, I was at their house. My husband told me to sit and get comfortable. The place was really messy, not quite hoarder level, but close. They had 2 couches facing each other and some chairs. Not knowing the rules, I sat on one of the couches, which was covered in stuffed teddy bears. You'd think I sat on live bears. There were probably 20 or 30 small and medium teddy bears on that couch. The mom and my husband's twin brother freaked out, like I'd hurt the bears. That's when they told me the couch was for the bears only. No one sits on the bear couch. Only the bears. Story 18. I slept over at a friend's house when I was about 10. She was the only girl in her family, and had 5 brothers, ages 4 to 15. Her room was totally normal, but the boys' room was weird. They shared a big room with 3 bunk beds. Each mattress had a fitted sheet, a pillow, and nothing else. No top sheets, no blankets, no comforters. The boys didn't have pajamas either. They slept in the clothes they wore all day, shirts tucked in, belts still on. Their room had no door, and neither did the connected bathroom or closets. Turns out they were fundamentalist Christians, and the boys' room was designed to prevent them from masturbating.